Okay, y'all, for this next recipe that I'm going to share with you is one that my Aunt Glennis shared with me. She was married to my Uncle Bernie, my daddy's oldest brother. And every Thanksgiving, until I went into the restaurant business, every Thanksgiving we spent over there in Statesboro, the whole Hires clan. And that went on for 25 years. And we have got so many good memories of our times over there. And Aunt Glennis always had what she called chewies. And as soon as you walked in the door, the first place you go is to the sideboard where all her desserts were and grab you a chewy. So that's what I'm going to share with y'all today. And I made some the other day. Jamie was saying, wish I had one of Aunt Glennis's chewies. I said, well, son, I got the recipe. I'll make them for you. And so I made them. And after he ate one, he said, Mama, I so appreciate you doing that, but they weren't as good as Aunt Glennis's. I said, well, you know, memories are always better than actuality. So now the first thing we're gonna do is we are gonna beat our eggs and our sugar and our butter together, and that's 1 stick of butter. But I agreed with Jamie. I thought Aunt Glennis's was better than mine also. Okay, so there we go with our 3 eggs. And we're just gonna beat that up until it's incorporated real good. And then we're gonna add our 2 cups of self-rising flour. Now that's self-rising, so don't get confused. The powder that I'm putting in here, the flour that I'm putting in here, it already contains baking powder and salt. Where if we were using plain flour, you would have to add either some baking soda or baking powder. But we don't have to at this point. Now our sweetener is going to come from our brown sugar. And we're going to use a whole box of light brown sugar. And I wouldn't hesitate. If you have dark brown, I wouldn't hesitate to use that. In fact, if you don't have any kind of sugars at all, dark sugars, you can make your own light brown or dark brown sugar, just adding some molasses to some regular white sugar. So you got your brown sugar, just in case you don't have any in your pantry. All right, now we're slowly gonna add our flour. And remember, that's 2 cups of self-rising flour. Okay, so I'm gonna add a tablespoon of vanilla. And now, you know, I love nuts. I love nuts and anything that I eat that's sweet. So the recipe calls for, like, what is it, 2 cups of nuts, Teresa?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm definitely gonna put the 2 cups of nuts. Whoa, that's some nutty stuff. All right, now Aunt Glennis, she used a small package of semi-sweet chocolates, and I'm sure it was maybe just a 6-ounce bag that she put in there. And this is 10 ounce. I don't even know if they make that small bag anymore, so I'm just gonna use like half a bag. even when I make my chocolate chip thin cookies, I don't use a whole bunch of chocolate chips in them, because my favorite part in those cookies is the nuts. So, and I'm using the little miniature chocolate chips. So it's strictly a preference. Like I said, that's not my favorite ingredient in these chewies, so I'm just using less. And it also calls for 3/4 of a cup of grated coconut if you like coconut. Well, I normally don't do it because I think it's Kari out of the children in the family that doesn't like coconut. So, but today I'm gonna put some coconut in it just for giggles. It's gonna kind of taste like that candy bar with almonds in it. I mean, with coconut in it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're gonna bake this off in a 13 by 9 by 2, and we have got our oven preheated at 375 degrees, and we're gonna bake it for about, let's see, I can't remember exactly how long, 25 to 30 minutes. So that was some runaway coconut. So I'm gonna scoop it up this way because that bowl is so heavy to pick up. Aunt Jessie and Uncle Bernie, they've been gone now for a good while, but I thank them so much for all the wonderful memories. We'd go over there. Uncle Bernie had a pond, and I know one year there was so many of us coming, he had to rent oh darn, I can't remember what you call them now. Like those travel trailers.
An RV?
Yeah, something like that. He had to rent a couple of them to hold us all. Oh, and did we ever have fun? Lord have mercy. My cousin Don Harris. It was a crazy time in Don's life. So he was actually able to come just maybe 2 or 3 times over those 25 years, and I wish he had been there because he's got such a good memory, and he could remind me of how much fun I had. We'd play poker and go outside and play games, and Uncle Bernie would cook a whole hog. He'd build a hole in the ground, you know, and cook a whole pig. And he arranged for us to have horses. A friend had horses, so he got them to bring horses. So there was just so much to do. But the most that we ever did there was play poker. And the family looked so forward to those little friendly games of poker. And I think we played for nickel, dime, and a quarter. And it's amazing how quickly that can add up. All right, in the oven, 25 to 30 minutes on 375. Perfect. They're ready. You know what? I'm gonna take some of these to Jamie and see what he says about this round, because the ones that I took him, I didn't put coconut in them. It's like I said, so many folks are just funny about coconut. But it's really, really good in there if you like chocolate and coconut and kind of a chewy, gooey thing. But my favorite is the end and the corner pieces that are real chewy. Like this piece. Brings back so many memories. If you haven't made these, and this recipe has been around so long, and I'm sure at this point everybody's made them before, but in case you haven't, I hear Mikey coming home. One more thing to tempt him with on his keto diet. So if you've never made them, make sure you do try them because they're delicious. He just stuck his tongue out at me coming through that glass door. Hey, monkey. Would you like a chewy?
I would like to. Did I smell one?
Isn't that mean? Yes, you can smell them.
Yuck.
Loving best dishes, y'all. Now, only a devil would do that to somebody. Well, they say I was born full of devilment anyway, so there you go. Hey, y'all, it's Paula Deen. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be alerted when I post a video. Love and best dishes, y'all.